Locked in, bro. Just paid fee.
What up, Corey?
What up, Corey? What up, Corey?
Skull buffs.
All right, fellas, we back at it, man. Quarterfinals are set. 2032, man. Homecoming. This is DNA Gaming. Hit piece. Let's get to it, man. We're gonna talk about the matchups and what these teams are and what they represent in these playoffs right now. The first round of playoffs, we had some surprise games. First of all, we had some big games. I see you back. All right, I'm on it. I see you locked in. Let me lock you in the chat. Make sure everybody knows what's going on. Order is everything here. Let's get you locked all the way in. But yes, man, today on our episode 11, what we're going to talk about is these playoffs and what's remaining in the playoffs as we near the end of 2025 and getting ready to jump into 2026 college. Whoops, that's not that. That's not that. Hold the fuck up. My boy, that dude. Hey, I can't wait for you to get back, man. I wish you'd have joined us for the last season to be able to get some warm-up games in. But let's talk about the first rounds of the playoffs, man. For those who are tuning in, let me post this on into our homecoming league. Playoffs? We talking about playoffs? All right, so you know the top 10 teams make it to the playoffs is really the top 12, and one of those top, so a top 11 Power 4 schools or schools itself make it to the playoffs, and then you're dealing with one group of 5 school, and that group of 5 was joined LV with a 10-4 record. They did have the 12th seed. They had to take on the University of Miami, and their coach taking over this team for the first time did a really good job with them. Got them number 5 in the nation. They are 13-0, haven't lost a game this season. However, they were able to escape the 2 top dogs of the conference, and that was Syracuse and Clemson. But Miami took their talents into their stadium. Are they still at Coral Reef? Corey, I know you're a Miami fan. Where they at? Are they still at Coral Reef when they come down to the stadium and all that good stuff? All right, we're not going to dig too deep into this game, but Balaga, the quarterback, Tevin Balaga, he went off in this game with a 468-day performance, 6 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times. He did have a 70 completion percentage, 19 for 27. Because what's the off-season schedule? It's today. Everything's starting tonight, buddy.
Hard Rock.
Hard Rock. Okay. I'll post schedule soon. Look, look, when you get your quarterback, I'm gonna say it like this: when you are playing a playoff game and it's a computer game in the playoffs, it should be a practice game for you, right? It's not about the stats; it's about getting yourself prepared to have to take on one of the top users in the league. Usually, the top users in the league are going to be your playoff matchups. So when you subscribe to that, you got to come into these games and get things done to get you prepared for the next round, right? So we're going to look at what they did. I would say not bad, right? They did have a 100-yard running game performance, right? They was over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground, which is solid. Bobby Vlankos had a pretty solid day, 11 carries, 71 yards, 6.5. Balaga did carry the ball 28 yards, 3.1. Let's see, did he get sacked at all? Sacked 3 times, so some of them negative yards. He probably had more yards than that, got sacked, so negative yards. And then you had the power back, Nigel Newton, with 5 carries, 27 yards. And he also averaged 5.4 yards in the game. So I would think Miami was pretty solid, pretty happy with their run game. But when you are playing a team that's of lesser talent than you, you should be working on your passing game, in which they did. Quintero Javier, the wide receiver, the deep threat sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, he went off. No touchdowns, but he did lead the team with 157 yards on 7 catches. The tight end, wide receiver Cooper Aragus also had 4 catches, 127. He scored twice today, and then the tight end, who's one of the best tight ends in the nation, he also had 2 touchdowns on 107 yards off of 3 catches. The running backs touched the ball out the backfield twice. And then you had Avery Winston, the slot receiver from Fort Myers. You're seeing a lot of Florida boys putting in work right there. And then you can't forget about the other tight end, Alan Hicks, who also had a touchdown in this game. And he's a dog, honestly. So, right, they got 2 stud-ass tight ends. Both are seniors. So I would think going into the next round that they're going to try to get those guys involved, especially being seniors. On the defensive side of things, you're looking at 8 tackles from Dakota Jameson, the senior right end. Miami's equipped to play in these playoffs. They got a lot of seniors running around, right? Like, they also had their left end, Jamil Tobin, who played really well. He had a sack on the day, 2 tackles for loss, 7 tackles. Their sack leader today was Peters, right? Another senior, right end, Jason Peters. He had from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. A lot of that Florida talent stayed home. He had 2 sacks in that ball game. And then on the INT department, Pilers and Capers both had interceptions. Both are upperclassmen. So I do think this, when we get to the matchups, I'll talk about Miami and what they have on their football team. West Virginia goes into Oregon, Autzen Stadium, and they lose this ball game by 10 points, right? But let's talk about why they lost this game by 10 points, right? Like, this was a good game, right? Oregon jumped out on top 28-17. And then West Virginia scored 31 points in the 4th quarter, bringing the beat back. They just couldn't get it done, though, right? That 3rd quarter loss, West Virginia, this ball game, they got their shit together in the 4th and really put up 31 points in the 4th quarter, which is outstanding. But not scoring a point in the 3rd quarter is what lost them this ball game. All right, so when it comes down to standout players, we're going to start with West Virginia first. And you're looking at Angelo Smith, right? He had 320 yards passing. He did throw 3 picks. He was sacked 3 times, and he only had a 42 completion percentage. So he struggled in the passing game, right? But the junior will be back for his senior year. But he did struggle in the passing game. Jordan Scatterbo, not the Scatterbo that's on the Giants team right now. This is his little brother. He went crazy, 6 carries, 132 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. 22 yards a carry. 81 he had 2 plus 20-yard runs, and he had an 81-yarder in this game. For a power back to get low like that matters a lot. Angelo Smith, he had 42 yards in the touchdown. But little Tavon wasn't really getting it together, 1.4. So it looked like Oregon completely prepared for their biggest weapon over here for West Virginia. But they did show that they could go to their switch hitter, which was their power back. In the receiving game, Parker had 4 catches to tight end. We called a bomb right here with Steven Durant. They got speed like crazy at that receiver player. And Cashawn Henry was there, 4 for 58. And then Calvin Moses had 45 yards and a touchdown in this ball game. But the story of the day goes strictly to where we're looking at, right? I don't know how. I think Oregon need to clean this up. Let's just call it what it is. You cannot come into these playoffs at 44 completion percentage 11 for 25, sacked 4 times on the day and giving up 5 interceptions, but he still had 4 touchdown passes. But the savior of this game, you go to their running back, one of the top running backs in the nation, sophomore Titus Yazi, 160 yards on 8.4 yards a carry and a touchdown. And their freshman running back went crazy too, 10 carries, 97 yards on 9.7 yards a pop and a touchdown in this game as well. So they gave the ball to their 2-star young boys, and they produced all game long. But again, the star of the day goes to one of the best players in college football, and that's Zay Tuman. This man had 5 catches for 152 yards, 30.4 around his average. I mean, you're looking at a bomb to the tight end for 50 yards. Hart also caught a 28-yard pass, and Yazi out the backfield for 13 yards. But again, 5 catches, 152, 30 yards a catch, 4 touchdowns on the game, and he closed the day out with kick returns and punt returns, and he also had 4 punt returns for 129 yards and 2 touchdowns. Listen, Zay Tuman, not only is he if you go to the awards list, I do think he was the award winner on returns, right? And we see why, right? We see why he'll be a high draft pick when it's time for him to come out. He is a redshirt sophomore. He could come out this year, but if he return is on. But when you'll see why NFL scouts is going to be drooling over him, because not only is he a great receiver, he completely gets it done on special teams, and he literally is the reason why Oregon is going on to the second round of these playoffs. Because of what he did. He gave them a total of 6 touchdowns in this ball game, right? 4 as a receiver and 2 in the return game, and completely gave them that 10-point lead to better withstand that 31 points to 31 to 14 fourth quarter score. Oregon gave up 31 points in the fourth, but it didn't kill them because of what the receiver did, right? What Tuman did. Zay Tuman played really well on both sides of that aspect. He was special on special teams, and he went crazy at wide receiver. Now, on the defensive side of things, I will say this. Now, outside of that 31 points they gave up in the fourth quarter, you're still looking at a defense that showed up and showed out, right? Like, you're looking at their guys. Look, Blitz City, that's what their D do. And you see in the pressure 3, 2, 2, and 2, and then you got a whole lot of tackle for losses by individuals. But in the sack department, Arnold had 2, Alonzo had 1, and then in the INT department, the 3 guys that played well: free safety DeMarcus Hall, you're looking at Quincy Little at the other strong safety position, and you're looking at Brock Brown, the senior, at corner. They all had 1 INT, which held it down for this Oregon defense. So Oregon moves on to the quarterfinals, and you go look at the game that when I did the show, I talked about Michigan Clemson. I love how Coach Boone is playing with this Michigan football team. They have this, it's a weird, how do I say this? The way they play football is Michigan brand, right? They're going to play smash mouth football, right? But they're going to do it from all types of formations, right? They're going to line up and give you a heavy look. They're going to give you a whole lot of heavy looks. They're going to give you 12 personnel. They're going to give you a whole lot of 21, right? Like, they're going to have 2 tight ends on the field. They're going to run down your fucking throat. But this football team can do so much because of their quarterback, right? And what I mean by that is, if they got to line up and spread you out, no diddy, they can do exactly that. And what makes them hell is the fact that their quarterback is so elusive and can make things happen that he gives you a problem, right? Now, the other part of this quarterback is Corey Sims, is he knows he could throw the football, right? He got a cannon of an arm. And because of that, he feel like he can make the throw no matter where he's making that throw at, right? So when you're playing a 5-star team, 5-star studded team like Clemson, your mistakes have to be limited, and you cannot throw 3 interceptions at all, right? You can't do it. You cannot waste possessions. You cannot lose possessions, because if you do, that the talent of that football team, and then you're playing at Death Valley, that all totals up to Clemson being able to do what they got to do to get up out of a ball game. And one thing Clemson is not going to do is they're not going to overplay their hand. They're going to do just enough to win a football game, right? And if you force them to do more, they will do more. But they're going to let their talent overpower you for 4 quarters, right? And what happens is they're going to play bend but don't break defense, And on offense, they're going to better do a little bit of everything, right? They could play in phase and out of phase offensively. And that's the problem that I thought Clemson would give Michigan, right? But as I'm looking at the stat line, they threw the ball, right? But they wasn't throwing the ball super well. Now, Peyton Marks, 6'3", 231-pound power back, right? 6.1. They also had their elusive back, Jaren Hearns, who also carried the ball, only 4 yards to carry, but he did have 2 touchdowns. So outside of Mark's 91 yards, they did give him 100. But like, if I'm Clemson, this is a good defensive day for us. Like, we kept them from getting 200 plus yards rushing, which this football team does on a consistent basis. So you held them under their standard and you forced them into being a passing football team. And in the process of that, Carry-On had 3 catches for 117, got a touchdown. Avery Sanders also had 3 catches, 49 yards, and a touchdown. And multiple receivers touched the football, but it wasn't enough to really, break the bank, right? The way I look at these yards, these passing yards, and the guys that touched the football, it was desperate football, right? So let's go back to the box score and see how it went. So they come out of the first quarter 7-9, come out of the second quarter 10-17. So they playing a really good football game. And then look what the third and fourth quarter did. Again, you're looking at a 40-31 ball game, right? But if you Michigan, going into that fourth quarter, you are super comfortable knowing that this game is nowhere near out of hand. You just had to get a stop or two, and you couldn't get it. So not being able to get it, and then you're dealing with Trey Gunter, superstar at quarterback, right? 300 for, he's not a dual threat, field general for sure, but he has enough speed to be able to extend plays and get some yards if he need to with his legs. And he went off in this game, man. 343 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was only sacked 1 time. 21 for 29 and 72%. This is with a 5-star senior quarterback that's been playing for the last 2 to 3 seasons is going to do to you, right? Especially at home. He's going to be comfortable, and he's going to make you play under pressure while they play in phase. Sterling only gave him 50 yards, so Boone did a really good job stopping Clemson's run game. But you know where the damage was done at. Just take a look at the leading receivers, right? You start with Sterling out of the backfield, has 6 catches. This is Clemson doing enough, right? All right, you taking all that other shit away from me. You probably putting pressure on my quarterback. Let me dump the ball off to my running back. And he did that 6 times, 9.7 yards and a touchdown, right? Then you get a tight end, right? You covering the receivers, you doing all you got to do, and the tight end is the mismatch on the field. And when you got a senior-led quarterback like Clemson does, he's going to find that matchup, and he found it 4 times and 2 touchdowns, 77 yards. Wide receiver Jeremiah Wall, the redshirt freshman, he kicked in with 4 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown in the ball game. And then you start looking at guys that just produce with Etienne, the former running back turned receiver, walking by that defense for a 63-yard touchdown. This game was probably better than the 11 points is showing right now, right? Like, to me, I think this was a ball game that could have went either way, and that tells you more. And this is what I'm gonna say. Coach Hoodie knows how to play with his football team. He knows what he has on his football team, and he pitched those guys in the best situation he could put them in every time he takes the field. So I can't look at this game and say Michigan came in with a new head coach that's learning his football team, but has some dynamic weapons all over the field and can do some things. And that score is a little closer than we would like it to be. You can't look at it like that because that's Clemson's style of play. They're not looking for a blowout. They just looking for you to make a mistake and them to capitalize off of it. And that's how this game went. On the defensive side of things, you know what I mean? All their players came to play. You're seeing a whole lot of tackling, right? So these guys had to tackle, and this is what I'm talking about, bend but don't break. When you got multiple guys with 4 or more tackles in a game, I mean multiple, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 defensive players with 4 tackles or more in this ball game. That told you that they was making Michigan put drives together, and they had to be perfect on them drives, because the moment you make a mistake, you're going to be in trouble. And that's what I see when I look at the stat line. defensively like that. Now, Nestor had 3 tackles for loss, Sam's had 2, and Lucky had 2 as well. And in the sack department, both of these guys got to the quarterback at the same time. And middle linebacker Keenan Lucky, and you're looking at left end Noah Pickens got to the quarterback at the same time. And then in the interception department, Donahue showed off, right? At safety, anything deep, he's running up under that thing and not allowing you to do it too much of nothing. And then their quarterback, their sophomore, 5-star Adrian Maddox, also had an interception in this ball game. So when you come out of this game and you see Michigan travel to Death Valley for this ball game and lost by 11, and I showed you the box score, it tells you this was a fucking football game, right? Like, I think Michigan came and played their hearts out, right? But Clemson just got the better football team, and they end up overpowering them. And again, you cannot play Clemson, and you cannot play them and make mistakes. Any mistakes, they will capitalize off of that and put you in a situation, especially at home. 40-31, Clemson moves on to the quarterfinals. And then there was the Florida State-Texas game. Now, Florida State had to travel to Austin, Texas to take on this game. Both teams with the same record, 10-3. 10 ranked Florida State taking on the 7th ranked Texans. I got to see what happened in this ball game because most will say this was an upset. Coach C. Howe went into Texas and pulled out a win that I don't even think he thought he could do. But it starts with John Tandy. When you lose Charlie Ward II to the NFL draft, you got to find a quarterback that could come in and step up. This guy been in the program, is starting for the first time this season, and as the season progressed, he got better. This was a really big game for him. 261 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 INT, was sacked once, 66%, only incomplete 10 passes. He was 20 for 30 on the day. And then we know they will run the football. Frank Kennedy had 19 carries for 164 yards and a touchdown. And then you got their receiver back, D. Freitas, with 5 catches, 5 runs, 20 yards. Quarterback kicked in 1 yard. Average though, but sacks matter. We didn't get to see their power back in this ball game though, but they did get their receiver back and their elusive running back the football, and they did their job, almost giving them 200 yards rushing today. All right, in the receiver department, their best receiver, George Davis, had 5 catches, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. Columbus, 3 catches, 48 yards and a touchdown. Freitas also caught the ball, 25 yards out the backfield. Adaya, the tight end, with 2 catches, 21 yards and a touchdown in this ball game. Let's go to the Texas Longhorn offense to see what they did. Their quarterback, 59 yards, and Patio is that Furniture? And Ace the Coldest. Honestly, looked like they struggled at the quarterback. When you playing 2 quarterbacks, that means you only got 1. And to be honest with you, they struggled, right? They held these boys under 200 yards passing. I mean, that's big time. 3 sacks on the day. Neither one of their quarterbacks had a high completion percentage, so it got shut. And then you look at the run game, and Ace Dakotas used to play running back. All of a sudden, he's a quarterback now, so I guess they see him fit better there. Let's see what year he is. Redshirt sophomore. I thought that was Kool-Aid that played running back. That's my fault. Nope. They got Lemonade. First of all, this boy named Strawberry Lemonade. I don't know what he named these guys. Pure Bloodhound. Yeah, Pure Bloodhound. He did have 33 yards and a touchdown in this ball game. And Quincy Maddu, had a touchdown in the game as well. So they did score twice. They were almost 200 plus on the ground, but it just wasn't enough. In the receiver department, Rivera had 5 catches, 61 yards and a touchdown. And then you really don't see too much going on here. And this is why this game was won by Florida State. They was able to contain the run game. They allowed them to, not allowed them, but they said, if we're going to give up something, you're going to have to run the ball. And I don't think Texas was able to pick consistent drives together, knowing that they couldn't really throw the football, right? When you got to run the ball, you better put drives together and finish. Whether it's 3 points or a touchdown, you got to finish. And it looks like that didn't happen in Austin, Texas. It looked like Texas did not finish. And the football team tackled today. Florida State did a really good job in the tackling department. Multiple guys. And then Easy had a big day. In the playoffs, your seniors is going to be the guys that step up. And you're looking at Easy with 2 sacks in the game. You also had Devontae Temple, the redshirt sophomore, with a sack. And in the INT department, they didn't get any INTs. But again, when you hold a team that is known for throwing the football to not being able to throw the football. I mean, Texas got 3 receivers over 1,000 yards, and like when you look at what happened in this ball game, those guys did not show up at all. Like, I mean, didn't show up at all. So shout out to Florida State because that was the upset of the first round of the playoffs, right? We had some close games though, and I talked about this on the first playoff show. I talked about the game I was watching was the West Virginia Oregon team because they don't play each other and they're 2 unfamiliar coaches with each other. So I figured it would take them a while to figure out each other. But as you can see, a 10-point ball game was won there. And then I also highlighted this Michigan Clemson game. I didn't think Michigan would go into Death Valley and beat them, but I said watch out for it. As you can see, 40-31. I did not expect Florida State to beat Texas. I just thought Texas would be able to overpower them at all aspects of the football game, defense, offense, and special teams, and that did not show up. It did not happen. Florida State was able to really be a balanced football team offensively, and they pulled this victory off by 4 points, 35-31, moving them on to the second round of the playoffs. Now, in the quarterfinals, you're dealing with the USC team. Antonio Todd finally has this team where he wants them. After leaving and taking the job to USC and putting, his coaching staff together and really getting it figured out over the last 3 seasons, I think right now this is the most comfortable he's been with his roster because this kid, this coach did a really good job in Arizona. I mean, they dominated the Big 12, winning multiple Big 12 championships. They stayed and they lived in the playoffs, right? They just got it done. So we knew at some point that this head coach will get it together with USC, especially having a bigger drywall expansion to be able to recruit, right? Arizona is one thing, but when you at USC, a blue blood, in my opinion, you're going to be able to recruit, especially in California. And if you keep that talent home, it's going to be amazing for you. But if you can go all over the globe and get guys, which USC, they have the range to do that in recruiting, they're going to better do it. And they brought in 2 offensive and defensive coordinators. They brought in 2 different coordinators. Last year was their first year, and what they did was they opened it up for them in the recruiting department. And because that happened, you start getting the talent. And then the other part that most guys don't realize about Antonio Todd and why he had Arizona so good is because the development of the team players he got on his team. So now in Arizona, you're developing 3 stars and turning them into winners, right? And it's taking you 2 or 3 seasons. But in USC, you developing 4 and 5 stars, and it's not taking you that long to develop them guys because they are already up at the top of the pole when it comes down to talent. And all it is development. So you have a coach that's very good at developing, and then brought in 2 coordinators that can get it done in the recruiting aspect. It's going to be success there. And then Miami, we're trying to figure it out, right? Because Miami took over an already talented Miami football team that just couldn't get it done in the win department. So that staff got fired. New staff comes in, and what he does is he identifies the players on the roster already, and he get those guys ready to play. And I think I'm not going to take away from this new coach, but what I will say, if their old coach sticks around for this year and you got the upper class team and that schedule the way it lined up, I think that he could have got himself into the playoffs too. But I think Miami was they were impatient. They did not want to wait for a guy to sit around and not play games or not win games for 3 seasons straight. And they moved on. And what they did was they showed a coach that wanted it, and that coach that wanted it got this team 13-0 and in the quarterfinals playing a neutral field game in the Cotton Bowl against USC. This is going to be a hell of a matchup. Now, it's going to be a test matchup because we know who Antonio Todd is, right? He's a champion. We know who he is. He won conference championships in the Big 12. He's won Big 10 championships since he's been in the Big 10. Now, he's trying to take that next step, and I think he knows he has the football team on both sides of the ball to be able to do exactly that. So the question is, what is this Miami team, and what can this coach do? And what I see as far as roster makeup is one of the better rosters, and I think it's because of the senior upperclassmen talent that they have in Miami, right? All right, so you're looking at a total overall team is 92. Their offense is 94 and their defense is 91. But let's just look at what's on the roster, right? You got a true sophomore being protected, right? This kid is a monster at quarterback. He's a dual threat. He's a really strong arm. He really could throw the football, right? And he's accurate as well. And at the same time, he's the young gunner, but he's becoming the leader of this football team. He's not that yet, but he's becoming that. And you look in the backfield, running backs are young. Upperclassmen in Newton, Arusha, and Lasco, all upperclassmen, but their guy Vlachos is the young gunner. He's been in the program for 3 years right now, and he's on the redshirt year, so he's a redshirt sophomore. But he's been in the program for 3 years. With his overall and how he played this year, I doubt he comes back for his redshirt junior year, but he does have eligibility if he decides to come back. In the receiving department, you're looking at Winston as the junior, but their redshirt sophomore who's been in this program. So he's been in the program for 5 years. He's been in the program for 3 years, or let's say 4 years and 3 years. And then they got Quinterio, true sophomore, and they got some young guys there. But you're looking at the top three receivers, right? These guys been in the program for at least a year or two, right? And then at the tight end room, this is where they get hectic at. All three of their tight ends are seniors, and two of them are NFL tight ends, right? You're looking at Hicks and Game As. Both of those guys will see their names called in the 2032 draft. Now, where's the protection going? That's what the weapons look like. How does protection go? Redshirt junior and Hosey at left tackle. Backups to junior as well. True sophomore and Owaski. Is he starting for them, though? Center is a true freshman. He's a dog, 4-star elite, so he's a problem right now. He comes out 2032 and sees the field right away. And then at right guard, Cartwright's junior and Humphreys be backing him up, juniors. And then you're looking at your right tackle, who's the best offensive lineman you have, and he's a redshirt junior as well. So they do got upper class line, a little bit of mixture. They do got a freshman and sophomore on that line. 3 out of the 5 are upperclassmen. On the defensive side of things, Tobin, left end, true sophomore, they both came in the same class. That offensive lineman and him, and you're looking at right end, he's a senior in Peters, and that's why you see him making plays the way he does. And looking at the D tackle room, junior, senior, senior, senior. So they got guys that has experience. Do they match up with USC is going to be the problem. Can this experience be enough to better take on that USC team that we will show their roster in a second? And looking at their outs, their linebacker, and a lot of this, look, this is what they're going to have to do coming into the last season. Hopefully they did a good job recruiting, but they're going to need some depth, right? When you got one linebacker projected at each position and you got DNs that's going to be your backups here, it's a problem, right? But this is not in his control. This is what happens when the coach before you is not doing the things they need to do to keep this team up to par. But Capers, Atwell, and Dwyer, along with Webb, they got 4 upperclassmen when they come down to the cornerback room. They're going to have to get a really big recruiting class in. I don't care if it's 3 stars. You better fill this football team back up and show how good of a coach you are, because you're losing a lot. Senior defensively, Madden is a senior at safety, and then you got 2 juniors at strong safety. So this is an upper class football team, right? But is that upper class football team lining up on the field and can match up with this USC football team? All right, when it starts off, with the start off, they're playing their Bethlehem. I think Benedict has played as well, true freshman, right? So you got 2 quarterbacks playing. I'm going to go to their depth chart in a second. Matter of fact, let's just do it from the depth chart. All right. Benedict, the true freshman, has been playing. I know Bethlehem plays as well, but Benedict has been playing really well. Give me a commercial second. All right, my little weak ass channel ain't got no sponsors or nothing like that, so you ain't getting no commercials or none of that. You just gonna get a flat out pause on some straight nigga shit. We don't not do nothing else but that. But Benedict right now, man, Kerry Benedict, if you take a look at him, he's their starting quarterback. Although the true junior is a better overall than him, I just think they like the fact that this guy has dual threat capability, right? When you are a 4-5 type guy running a football, it does a lot for you, right? So I do think they do have a 2 quarterback system. Like, I don't think they're scared to play either one of these guys, but obviously Benedict has took the starting job here. This running back room is fucking trifling. Tay Scott went over 3,000 yards this year. He is a monster. And then the difference with these guys are not only, look at the physicals. Platinum shifty, side step gold, takeoff is still bronze, but 360 gold and recoup gold. Road dog, a fan favorite, right? And then their backup, Alani Addison. He's a good receiver out the backfield as well. He got silver takeoff and sidekick as well. Then they got the power back Cam Cloud, right? So they can hit you from all different angles of how they want to do it. They got a guy that catch the ball really well out the backfield, a guy that's their main back with 3,000 plus, and then Cam Cloud, if they need the tough yards, they got a guy with silver head first, silver downhill, silver ball balance, and arm bar. To stop this USC football team, it starts right here with the three players I just highlighted. If you cannot stop this run game, you're going to have a long fucking day. And it's not just them running the football. They're not just lining up and smash mounting you all game long. It's what these backs can do. They all are special out the backfield. They all three down backs. All of them can hit home runs, right, from anywhere on the field. And all of them can wear your ass down all game long. What made Antonio Todd so good at coaching when he was at Arizona was he kept a loaded backfield and he kept a run game. And the fact that they was able to run the football, they was able to run guys out of the gym, and it was just that simple. And right now, he's back to that right now. I will argue Tay Scott is the best running back he possibly had. I know it's the best back he had in USC, but I'm going back to them Arizona teams, and I still think this is the best back he's ever had. And this guy is everything as advertised, right? Like, you're looking at an elusive back that can get jiggy, change the direction, agility, all that. Look at him. He's developed into a monster. And that's what I mean. A guy that's on roster, and you come in and you develop him into what you need him to be. And look at the development. You're looking at it through these redshirt juniors, right? Their development is serious right now. All right, Gage Jennings gets the number one receiver nod, but you can't. Viaha is good. Listen, Viaha a dog, and Christian Gore is a dog. All three of these guys make plays, and then they can go 5 to 6 deep when it comes down to receivers, right? And don't think they lack speed at all. All these guys can get behind your secondary, and they can all run after the catch. So, like, they can give you hell from at least 5 of these receivers. I would say all 6 of them, but I can tell you now their top 3 will give you hell. If you got to load up and give them man-to-man defense, and you got to stop the run because you got to load that box up, good luck with that. Good luck when you got guys in coverage, because guys in coverage man-to-man with no help, and because their safeties is in the box trying to stop the run, and you got to chase crossers, drags, corner out, all that type of shit. Good luck with that, right? When you got guys with wheels like this, right? All of them are 4-3, some of them 4-2 guys. Good luck with that. And in the tight end room, they strong with Pumphrey. He's a dog, upperclassman as well. And then they got a blocking tight end as well. And Luke Keenan, they got out of the portal, right? 6'1", 304 pounds. I know how good this guy is as a blocker because I was going after him. I wouldn't be surprised they got his ass at fullback. They got Lacrosse big ass playing there, but I would have probably had him at fullback. Hopefully, I just gave him a pointer. All right, upperclassman on the offensive line. Browner is an NFL draft pick. Might even be a first rounder. Redshirt sophomore, Roland. And the backup, Brandenburg, sitting right there. And then you're looking at their center, sophomore, center, 90 overall. Speed, right? And you're looking at Tenuta, 92 as a redshirt junior. And then at right tackle, they hosted another senior. And this is what balances their run game out and makes their run game so hard to stop, right? Because you're looking at 2 seniors at the tackle position. At the guard position, you're looking at an upperclassman, redshirt junior. You're looking at a redshirt sophomore. Both been in the program for 3 or more years. And then at the center position, you're looking at a redshirt sophomore as well. And on the defensive side of things, Tandy is a senior, and he's going to get it done. At right end, you're looking at Finger, who's a redshirt junior, so he's pretty much a senior as well. At D tackle, true sophomore in Sullivan, DeMarco Sullivan, 6'3", 330 pounds. He's a man child, and then they got a true freshman, Connor Crane. If I'm playing this USC football team, you're hoping that this is where you can get busy at. The inexperience of these two players will pitch you, will make you comfortable to think this is where you can attack them at, right? Maybe you can lead one-on-one and blocking and double team on tackles or something, them DNs or something. I don't know, but you got to figure it out, right? And then looking at Sharp, he's a senior back for his redshirt senior, so he's been in the program for 6 seasons. And then their backups are juniors all behind them. And look at it, right? We look at depth chart. Antonio Todd in his redshirt junior year. Brian Ferris, you got to play a dog like this, right? 4-star, 5-star, 87 overall. Look at the speed on him. He's going to be a problem. You got guys that's running at the linebacker position, and they upperclassmen. So they're not going to make a lot of mistakes. And then you get into the corner room. Until you get to cornerback 4, everybody's seniors. So when you got a football team that's experienced and smart, you got to better beat them like you got to treat them like the Clemson football team, right? Because they're going to bend but don't break. They're going to do all the right shit, and you got to do all the extra shit right here. Senior Pinerio, senior safety, they got their strong safety playing free safety, and then you look at Pierce, the senior strong safety playing strong safety, and he had 88 overall. So they got the matchup, they got the talent. When it comes to that football game, can Miami stop the run game of let's get back to it, my bad. Can Miami stop the run game of USC? And can USC, matter of fact, I'm not even saying that. Can Miami stop the running game of USC? And can Miami throw the ball on USC's defense? Because you will have to pick USC as the favorite coming into this ball game. There's still a lot of unknown with Miami. And the biggest issue I got with this Miami roster is depth. When you got a football team that got a 3,000-yard rusher on their team, they can line up and give you 30, 40 carries. And when you don't got depth at outside, inside linebacker, and you got 1 to 2 deep at every position on your defense, and you can't give guys a break, and they running that ball down your throat for 4 quarters, what are you going to do when your defense get tired? You got to pray that it's a really good football game in the 4th quarter, and you can get to the 4th quarter down by 3 or something like that, or not losing at all, because they're going to wear and tear your defense. As simple as that. And if I'm the University of SoCal, I'm running the ball down their throat, and I'm gonna make them stop the run all game long. It's playoff football. I don't give a fuck what the stat line look like. If you can't stop my running backs because you don't got enough depth on your defense, that's on you. So if I'm Miami, I'm keeping this game close. I'm making we're going to call plays and make the less mistakes as possible, and we're going to make their upper class defense show us that they're going to be perfect. And we're going to get to this 4th quarter, and we're going to hopefully be able to keep keep their offense off the field and play ball control and pit drives together also, because the more you pit drives together on offense, the more rest your defense get and can have them as fresh as possible going into that 4th quarter. To me, that's the only way Miami can beat USC, unless USC just come out and shit the bed, right? Bad play calling, turnovers, fumbles, and interceptions that shouldn't be happening. Something like that happens, then I think, Miami can do their thing. But don't act like this team ain't 13-0 in the playoffs right now. And they got enough senior capability on this football team, upperclassmen, to be able to come out and play good football. So this should be an interesting football game. Our quarterfinals, Miami and USC in the Cotton Bowl. Our next bowl is 1 versus 8, and that's Syracuse waiting in the quarterfinals to take on the Oregon Ducks right now. This is a matchup that these coaches are completely familiar with each other, but it also comes down to rosters. And when you start talking about rosters, you start talking about depth and who has what where, right? And how much leadership is on these football teams, right? So I'm gonna skip right past Syracuse and take it right to Oregon and start there, right? Because at the quarterback position, they trotting out elite 5-star Max Hendricks, but he just came out of a game where he threw 5 interceptions and had a 44 completion percentage. He will not be able to do that in the Syracuse game at all. You do that in the Syracuse game, it can get ugly. And I know the coach knows that. So I know he's going to come out and play better football. What's wrong? Can you bring me up some ice, Mom? Here, yeah. Take this cup down and just put ice in it. All right. The good thing about Hendricks is he can do it. I know this is year one for him as a starter, but I think the kid been playing good enough football and he got the weapons around him to keep him composed to do it, right? But it's going to come down to the offensive coordinator. For me, when it comes down to Oregon and this Syracuse matchup, it's going to come down to how this offensive coordinator is going to call plays. It's that fucking simple. Are you going to line up and play smart football and make your quarterback like? Sometimes you want your quarterback to be that nigga. It's just that simple, right? And then there's games you just got to be a game manager. And I think because of where he's at and the game he's coming off of, you got to keep him at bay. I don't think you can allow him to be explosive when it comes down to just doing whatever you want. We know he got the arm talent to do whatever he want, right? But he can't do whatever he want because you're going to be going up against a really good defense. No. Thank you, sweetheart. Huh? What's wrong? Yeah. Give me one too. And you can take this back down. All right, baby. I'll be down there in a second. We're gonna watch a movie together, all right? I'm gonna take you out first. We're gonna go to the store, get you out the house for a little bit, and then we're gonna watch a movie when we come back. Let me know when Erica get here. Yeah. All right, that's my second nigga commercial. We back. Now, what I was saying about this Oregon football team, it comes down to coaching. Simple as that, right? To be able to beat the national champions of last year, 2031 national champions, you're going to have to come in and play perfect football. And you're going to have to call the right shit, right? You're going to have to that means your offensive coordinator job is on the line here. And this is what I mean by this. You know enough of Syracuse. You know the coach. You know what he like to do offensively. You know what he like to do defensively. But as an offensive coordinator, you got to better find little holes that you haven't paid attention to at any game you played him. Meaning, you got to watch film. You got to go back and look at tendencies of what that defensive coordinator like to do and why he's doing it. And if you can figure that out, I think Max Hendricks can have a great day, right? But it starts with every football game. It starts with what it looks like on a run game, right? And they have one of the top backs in college football to be able to get it done there. They also have three backs to be able to get it done right here, right? Like, in my opinion, they got the guys. So when it comes down to it, you're looking at three really good running backs, and they do got power back that's not on the depth chart right now that I think they can switch hit with as well. But Yaji is that nigga. He got that speed to be able to get shit done. And you're looking at Kuma, who can come out of that backfield. I mean, you're looking at a receiving running back that almost got tight end body, 6'2", 243 pounds. What are you going to do with that? Now, what are you doing with a tight end that has running back talent with 94 break tackle, 94 trucking, and 93 stiff arm, touching that ball in the open field, linebacker? This is a linebacker going up against linebackers. When essentially, right, when you look at it, if this guy catch the ball one-on-one with your linebacker, one, he's got the speed and the athleticness to be able to beat you, right? He's able to beat you, right? And he also has the talent and the strength and the power and the size to be able to run through your fucking guys. So this is where the problem could be at, right? If I'm Oregon, I'm saying this is my mismatch because the one thing Syracuse brings to the table, their linebacker room is fucking retarded. So you're gonna need these guys to get it done. And because it's four-quarter football, you're gonna need all three of these guys to get it done. Then my next thing I'm trying to do is this. All right. If I'm Syracuse's defensive coordinator, we're about to go to my third nigga commercial. Third nigga commercial coming up. back. All right, we back from our third nigga commercial. We ain't got no sponsors, no nothing. It's just I'm pausing that bitch and hopefully y'all sticking around on and I'm about to come back and talk my shit. But look, Zay Tooman, right? We saw what he did on special teams. We saw what he could do as a receiver. We also know Syracuse knows what this guy can do as well, right? This guy has been in the mix for the last 2 seasons, as far as Heisman contender, all that good shit. So we know what we're dealing with here. But if I'm the Oregon Ducks, you're going to have to find ways to get this guy going, right? Maybe have him as the third receiver, as a slot receiver, move him around just to get him in space, just to move him around and make Syracuse have to think about him.
Skill buffs.
And that's one of the ways you could stop. What's up, baby? That's one of the ways you could stop. You could confuse this Syracuse defense when it comes down to opening up things, because if Tooman is getting some work done and he's doing it from all over the field. I mean, I would have him playing running back. I'm going to have him everywhere. You got to move this guy around because he's your most special player on offense. And then you're going to need Prue and Harp to make plays. And because of Syracuse and how they operate, you might even have to go to your fourth receiver, and your tight end going to be big in this game. So if I'm the Oregon offensive coordinator, I'm thinking about all this shit, and I'm thinking about the weapons we got. And we know we can line up with anybody when it comes down to matchups and weapons. We know we can line up with anybody. How can I win a chess match? How can I fuse what we do on a regular basis in with some things that confuse our opponents going forward, right? Like, how can we make the run game that we do often, how can we make that different? How can we make it look different? How can we make it feel different? How can we make the Syracuse defense feel a little off balance, right? And you got to go into your bag, because every game is win or go home from here, all right? So you got to go into your bag, and you start with your quarterback knowing that he got the skills with his legs to do some things, and you keep that at play. And you got to give Syracuse a little bit of everything, right? That means you got to better run your quarterback. You got to better drop back, throw the ball. You got to better go 5 wides on them. You got to better line up a heavy formation and run at them. And you got to get the talent, the football. And you cannot come in this game and Tooman have 1 catch in the first half, right? And then you resort to throwing the ball to him in the fourth. No, he got to be active early and active often. And then you got to let him know Prue and Harp is here to play football too, as well as one of the best tight ends in the country. So as you can see, Oregon got the weapons. They got 2 deep tight ends. They got the receivers. They got running backs. They got the quarterback. They got the weapons to get it done. Now, the protection, you're looking at a senior here at left tackle. And look, this is when you know your offensive coordinator and head coach has gotten together and they know what they need to do, right? Because their best lineman is playing left tackle, and he's really a senior on the depth chart. Then you're looking at left guard. He's a redshirt junior, 96 overall, Moses. He's a motherfucking monster. Their senior, they got a true sophomore. He's so good that they was able to move their elite senior to left tackle and not lose a beat, right? And then you're looking at a junior at left guard, and then at right tackle, you're looking at a redshirt freshman and Ruggs, who you won't have to protect in this ball game. You're going to have to protect him because off the edge are 2 seniors that's going to be at him all day long, right? Now, defensively, I'm not really worrying about Oregon defensively, but I think the one thing that Oregon should have a championship right now, right? Or they should have at least played in the Natty right now. Here's why. I think the coach is good enough to get to a national championship. They do a hell of a job in recruiting. They use that Nike money and they get the players they need to get. Simple as that, right? They go all across the country and they bring in everything they need all the time. They're a hell of a program, and they've been programming. They're a winning program. They've been in the playoffs. They got Big Ten championships. They've done everything, right? But I do think this: when you hear me talk about Oregon's defense and their defensive coordinator, his makeup, I call it Blitz City, right? Because the one thing they do well is they blitz the fuck out of you. Every game that I've watched him play a user at, and where things don't work out for him or get ugly, is because he get away from that. He get away from what they great at. And I understand why, because I wouldn't do it either. You'd be playing Russian roulette, especially when you playing coaches that know what the fuck they doing. You start blitzing, especially zero man blitzing. It's going to be a long day for you if that shit don't hit home. But you gotta you gotta pick and choose your matchups, right? And I think this game, I think the Oregon coach is going to come into this game and he's going to pick his matchups. And if they stay with their identity, which is blitz the fuck out of you, I think they could pitch it because you got to think about it like this. Syracuse quarterback has been the starting quarterback for the University of Syracuse for 4 straight senior seasons. And he's a senior and he's been a 5-star elite quarterback. So you're not dealing with a kid that didn't know how to play football. And then you get him to the program of Syracuse where Fran Brown's the head coach and Coach Falk's the offensive coordinator. And if you know anything about the Syracuse football program and their history of their coaches, their quarterbacks, they get coached up and they play well. Sometimes lights out. And I'll show you what I mean when it's time to talk about Syracuse. So if I'm the Oregon Ducks, I'm sending pressure. Make, you know what I'm saying? Because what's going to happen is the beat pressure, you're going to try to run on that shit. Right, but I watched Oregon shut down a running team that is a rival to him with blitzing, but he did it run blitzes, right? So you got to mix your run blitzes in with your pressure blitzes, and not be scared to blitz, and then cover your holes behind the blitz, and hope to God they get there before Syracuse quarterback can figure it out, right? Because you got a quarterback that will figure that shit out. And you can't give them the same look. So your blitz has got to be different all the time. And your coverage has got to change behind it all the time and to better confuse them. And I think they got the defense to do it, right? And then not just that, they got the upperclassmen to do it. Regis and Alonzo alone are dogs, right? Fucking dogs. Ali's a fucking dog. And then you're looking at 2 seniors at your edge, coming off your edge. Then you're looking at all juniors. Your top 3 D tackles is redshirt juniors, right? Dogs. So you're not going to get tired. So send them motherfuckers because you got multiple players at every position that can come in, fill in, and play football. Simple as that. At linebacker, there's, juniors. McGelly, a dog. Humphrey's a dog. You got it. At middle linebacker, your senior, Matt Miles, we call him Blitz City himself. And then the speed at this linebacker position is fucking ridiculous. So you got the talent to better make up for something that, instead of just sitting back and lining up a call or cover 3 and sending 3 or 4, send that shit. Make that coach fucking work. Simple as that, because you got the speed to recover everywhere. Like, look at this shit. Arnold is a dog. Curse, a redshirt freshman, he up next. He's a dog. Then in the secondary, you got 2 seniors on the outside playing corner. You got a slot Lucky and the kid Luck, who's a dog. And then you got Harmon. And these all 4 or 5-star elites. And Samaya got 24 picks on the year. And he ain't get that for just covering motherfucking your best player. He got it because your quarterback throwing under pressure all game long. And they start making mistakes. They start seeing ghosts and they start throwing that shit to the wrong team. Simple as that. At the safety room, this is where his youngest players at, but dogs. And again, you got 3 deep at free safety and 3 deep at strong safety. Now, some of these guys are being on the depth chart more than once, but look at the safety room. You got Hall, Waltz, and McCown. But then you look at the strong safety wall. Do you see another repeated name there? No. Power, Little, and Satelli. Dogs everywhere. So if I'm Oregon, I know my defense is one of the best defenses in the country, but we're at our best when we are sending that shit all game long. We're going to apply pressure on you, and we come in to get your quarterback. And on the way to get your quarterback, we're stopping your run game. If they can do that, I think they can really go, win this second round game. I think they can win that shit. Now, the problem is to win it, the only problem I see when it comes down to this Syracuse football team is, I'll get to it, right? Because they got the best quarterback in the country. If I'm gonna say it like this, he's the best overall quarterback in the country. I love Clemson's quarterback. Both of them are seniors, right? Colorado got a good quarterback, really good quarterback, and so does Alabama. But when it comes down to the come to, there's nobody better than Canada's finest, Bam Goree, right? He is who he is. Not only can he run the football, he also can throw the ball all over the park. This man won a national title and came back and said the reason why he came back is because he want to win it again. Not because he didn't think he would be the first overall pick in the 2031 draft, because NIL got him comfortable, so he ain't worrying about the bread. He came back for another title. Simple as that, because this full program they're not content with one title, right? They've been to about 5, in this league, and they only won one, so they're looking to win another one, and he wants to be the first Syracuse quarterback to win back-to-back national titles. Simple as that. Now, Syracuse, though, in my opinion, Syracuse hasn't done Kyle Wallace. Rest in peace, Kyle Wallace. They haven't done Kyle Wallace his justice. This kid is a monster at running back, and I like both their backs, right? And I like what they got in their backfield, and the young kid and George Fabelugi is also a good power back to have, so you can switch it. But like, if Oregon can't stop Kyle Wallace, and the problem is you can ignore Kyle Wallace because he hasn't been the highlight of Syracuse's offense. He wasn't like Hanif Anderson was, where you knew he was getting the ball, he was going to win football games for them. They don't need Kyle Wallace to win ball games. In fact, they're 13-0 without Kyle Wallace having to win a ball game for them at all, right? But I think it's playoff football, so you know Kyle Wallace will be a part of what they got going on. So if I'm Oregon, I got to worry about this running back, but and I will worry about him more than most would, right? When you're looking at Kyle Wallace and you see his numbers, he had 1,000 yards this year. He was a dog. He played really well for them, but he wasn't really needed for them. The way they played the ball, when you got a quarterback that's coming back for his senior year, right? You're going to use his skill set, right? What Colorado do with Shador? A lot of people, they don't run the football well. When you got 4 NFL receivers and a quarterback that's a dog, even though he went in the 5th round because niggas be hating, that one of the best quarterbacks in college football on your roster throwing to them guys, you're going to do what you do best. And I think that's what Syracuse did. But don't get it twisted and fall asleep on the fact that Kyle Wallace is that nigga at running back. So good luck with that. But I think if Oregon can stop him and keep him from getting busy early on, I think they will result to Bam Goree winning them the football game. Remember earlier when I said you need a quarterback to be a game changer or a game manager? And I said I think Hendricks for Oregon got to be a game manager this game coming up because of what he did in the last game he played in the playoffs. Well, Bam Goree is a game changer, right? And he's a switch hitter, meaning he can do whatever they need him to do to win a football game. But when it comes down to football IQ, he's the best quarterback in the league right now. He will tear your defense up if he get a hand on it. This is why I said Oregon's defense need to do what they do best, because if you give him time to process, it's going to be a long day for you. It's going to be a long day for anybody, especially with the weapons they got on the outside, right? First of all, Maurice Teller is a two-way player like Travis Hunter, and he started off his career as a true corner and then moved to the wide receiver position. He plays both. You're going to have to deal with him. He's their guy. But then Jeff Love is here. Butchie Spearman at 6'4" is here, right? And you got wide receivers that can run around the park, right? All speed, everywhere. But their jewel, no pun intended, is A.J. Jewell. This is the jewel of their offense. One thing about Syracuse is they use their tight end, where a lot of guys don't really use the tight end like they should, myself included. Syracuse, they feature their tight end in their passing game. Because what they do is they make you cover every blade of grass. Every blade of grass you got to cover when you play Syracuse. And the one thing Syracuse is going to do, and their offensive coordinator has lived off of this, he will trick you into thinking he is what he is, because he is what he is, and he'll do what you don't expect him to do. Shit that we frowned upon. Man, he throwing the ball to the running back, checking down Charlie all game long. Fuck out of here. Fucking throwing drags all game. He going to do whatever it takes to get the ball into a guy's hand and get them 6 yards to pop. Simple as that. You start playing a check down, he start going over top. He going to spread you out. You always going to think about the QB blast. Now, he ain't got to worry about you covering his receivers well, because you more worried about what he about to do with that quarterback in the run game. Get it? It's chess match. All right, I got you thinking about this, I'm going to do that. I got you thinking about this, and I'm going to do it because just because you're thinking about it, you also thinking I might not do it, so I'm going to do it anyway. And that's the game he's going to play with you. And as long as he's playing that game, you're going to be in a situation where you're thinking. But what happens when you take the thinking part out of the game, right? Well, the mental part is an aspect of football, but when you take that out of the game and you just play football, and you think while you're playing football, is a good thing. But if you thinking to play football, you're at a disadvantage, and most people lose to Syracuse because of that. Their offensive coordinator, it will trick you into doing some shit you ain't supposed to be doing. He would trick you into thinking he doing something, and you can flat out know what he about to call, and emotion would trick you out of that thought. And he'll run the play that you thought he was going to call, but you done did something different because he showed you one little thing different.
We need engagement, folks.
How the fuck do you stop a tight end at 6'5"? He came in as a receiver. They asked him to put the weight on. He put the weight on, and you got a guy that got 4.4 speed, 4.3, might even be a 4.3 guy at tight end that can get busy like this. And he won the tight end in a year award. So what are you going to do there? Then it comes down to offensive line. Last year, Colorado was supposed to win that game. Why? Because Colorado had the upperclassmen. And Syracuse came into this game with a whole bunch of young linemen. This year it looks like this. Quincy Holloway, Haynes' brother. Their D tackle, their superstar D tackle. This is his brother, Quincy, all from Camden, New Jersey. Left tackle, 97 overall. Junior. At left guard, senior, Carter McNichols, right? Left guard, 95 overall. Their backup, 93. Their guy behind him at 91. At center, redshirt junior, Leo White, 6'6", 340. 66 speed, 84 acceleration. That's what matters, right? 93 overall. Junior. At right guard, junior, Malik Brown. All these guys are from Camden, New Jersey. All of them play for the high school, Wilson High School in Camden, New Jersey. Malik Brown, he's sitting there,
watching me.
93. Aquaman. And then he not only is that, the kid is fast. Like he's an athlete at left guard, redshirt junior. They got it done on their offensive line last year in that Colorado National Championship game where they bullied them up front. And they did it with a whole bunch of redshirt sophomores. Now they're all redshirt juniors. So in Central, they all seniors across the line. And you're looking at Curtis Johnson, another Cannon product, 97 overall. So they got one of the best offensive lines in the country right now. And you don't think, even though they ain't do it all year long.
From Camden, NJ.
Yes, they are. On this football team, they are. Every last one of them. Look them up. They're real life niggas. All right. On the defensive side of the ball, Gentry is a senior. And then you're looking at, on the other side, Lacuna is a redshirt junior. And they're both their guys coming off the edge, upperclassmen. At the D tackle position, Haynes Holloway. Rest in peace to my boy Haynes as well. And then Breeder, a redshirt junior. You don't leave me alone, Erica. Holloway, a junior. And they in the middle holding shit down, right? Is the reason why they comfortable with playing defensive end at 6'6", 251 pounds at their number 2 D tackle. There's a reason why you're there, right? All right, linebacker level. This is where I told you this is where the best part of their defense is at. All right, Durant's a senior. Bean is a junior. Right behind him is a senior, Talioto. Let me charge my remote control. All right. We're about to take our 4th nigga commercial. And for those that don't know what a nigga commercial is, we ain't got no sponsors. Ain't no real sponsors coming up selling shit to y'all. It's just me taking a motherfucking commercial. And it's called 30-second break. Taliolo. Now, they're starting middle linebackers, though. I will say this. You're not looking at, off the chart 4.4 speed at the linebacker position. These guys are traditional linebackers, right? Although they got tags, pass coverage, they're good at what they're doing, but they're not going to kill you with speed. So their technique is everything. This is why they're so good at linebacker, right? Their middle linebackers ain't going to run you out the building or ain't going to chase your 97 speed running back down, but you got to better get in front of him before he got chased, right? So as long as he's squared up to you and you ain't in a position to protect yourself, he's going to light you up. And if he lights you up and you turn that shit over, it's on the popping. Right? It's on the pop. And it's funny how you see in Camden, New Jersey right there on Via Taliololo. He'd be the least motherfucker from Camden. Promise you that. He should be from Collinswood, New Jersey, not Camden. The fuck?
We need some sponsors.
He live near Erica. We need some sponsors, but we back from my 4th nigga commercial. That shit over with now. We back. All right. Let's get to it. All right, so defensively, again, their middle linebackers aren't going to run you out the building, but they're going to outsmart you, outclass you, out physical you. They're going to do some things. Their right outside linebacker, they do got speed. Their Hepburn is their senior. So again, their upperclassmen are at the linebacker position. And then we look at the corner room, right? They lost some big time corners, but when you got to, this is where, if I'm Oregon, that even if I'm taking one of my receivers that I don't really need to be making plays for me, and I'm running him on go routes all game long. Because if Maurice Teller got to get work done at receiver and then come on the other side of the ball, we're going to see if he a true Travis Hunter. We're going to see if he going to have the energy to better. Listen, I had Corey Sadler in the game, in a user game, where I had him playing corner for one series. He didn't play receiver the rest of the game. I could not get him back on the field. So if I'm and I played Falky when this shit happened, and that's it. I'm telling you what to do because it was
Tell
done
a
to me.
friend to tell a friend to tune in.
Right, tell a friend to tune in. It's them again. But Maurice Teller is going to be chasing go routes all game long. And when he get back at receiver, as soon as I see him yellow, I'm going to let him get the ball and I'm lighting his ass up. Now, their weakness of their defense, let's just keep it 100. Syracuse doesn't have the strongest cornerback room. They got a whole bunch of guys that have been in the program, but development, as far as overall wise, has been a little slower than they would like it to be. But at the same time, what they got up front in their front seven protects these guys. And I'm attacking Maurice Teller. You got to. Even though you're going to pay for it a couple of times, but you attack him to take him away from their offense. Simple as that. Now, their strength is in their safety room. Jeremiah Ford, dog. And then you're looking at redshirt sophomore Keys, another dog. So defensively, again, Oregon got their work cut out for them offensively. But if I'm on defense, I'm Oregon. I'm doing every and anything I can possibly do to distract that offensive coordinator and make him have to see ghosts, see things faster. Show me your senior quarterback is really as intelligent as you think he is. Show me he's really that nigga. If he can show me he's really that nigga and you beat us, oh well. I can go out knowing I went out the way I was supposed to go out. Right? But don't leave nothing on the bone. Do not leave meat on the bone at all, no diddy. And you gotta attack this shit. And you gotta get after it and do it well. Because when it comes out of quarterback play, remember when I told you Syracuse do a good job at quarterbacking? Peter Kingsbury still to this day is holding down the passing national passing yards, 25,367. But take a look. Still holding it down, right? Now watch this. See how close Bam Gorey is to taking that record down? Multiple quarterbacks. Simple as that. This is what they do at the quarterback position. That's simple. He got 335 touchdown passes in his career as well. Like, he's that close to taking that record down. So you do got a dog at the quarterback position. And you're going to have to worry about that dog at the quarterback position. Look at him. Nobody's throwing more touchdowns than Bam Gorey. He took down Julian Lewis's touchdown record. Nobody's throwing more touchdowns than him. So remember that when it comes down to the come down. When we come back on part 2 of the quarterfinals are here, we will break down the bottom bracket, right? We will break down the Alabama-Clemson game and the Florida State-Colorado football game. Don't forget to tune in, man. And if you are watching for the first time and you're on my Twitter account, DNA Gaming, my YouTube channel is Mad Franchise Junkies. Please hit the like button, man, and hit the subscribe button to show some love. You heard? With that being said, my girl on her way home, and I can't wait for her to get the fuck home. And I'm going to get ready for that. You heard? Holla at you when we holla at you. We go.